certify the election. What is going on?
So a couple of weeks ago, there was this weird moment at a rally in Georgia where Trump, from the stage, shouted out by name new members of the Georgia State Election Board. And the Georgia State Election Board is not supposed to be like a partisan entity. It's not like a Trump campaign thing. It's the technocratic board that oversees the administration of elections in Georgia. And so him shouting them out by name and claiming them as like MAGA superheroes who were pit bulls for victory was a bad sign. But it turns out that, in fact, 3 pro-Trump members have been assigned to this board. They are the majority of the board. And since they've taken over this board, they have been passing all of these new rules in Georgia that are designed, among other things, to let local Republican elections officials refuse to certify the vote, refuse to say what the vote total is in individual counties. Republicans have been trying to refuse certification since 2020 in all of the swing states, in a bunch of states that aren't swing states, in more than 3 dozen instances. They've just refused to say, here was the vote total in our most recent election. They're doing this leading up to the 2024 presidential election when it seems very clear that no matter what the results are, they're going to say there's no knowable result. And so this letter today is from the Secretary of State's office, from Brad Raffensperger's office in Georgia, telling the Georgia Election Board, you need to stop passing these new rules. We're way too close to the election. Joy, on Friday of this week, they're planning, according to this letter, to pass 11 new rules for the administration of the election. This is Raffensperger's office warning that it's way too close to the election for any of these new rules to go into effect and telling them not to do it. He actually calls what they're trying to do absurd. But there's no reason to think they're going to follow this advice. They are really intent on sort of technocratically scuttling the process of tallying the votes.
And when you say soon, I mean, we're talking about early voting starts, advanced voting starts October 15. So we're talking about in a matter of weeks, not November. We're talking about October voting. They're still trying to pass rules that will make it difficult to certify. This feels like it's not a 50-state problem. It is a Georgia problem because of Republican control, maybe a Pennsylvania problem, Republican Secretary of State. But all they would need is like 1 or 2 states with enough electoral votes to bring it short of 270, right? Like that's the nightmare scenario, that somehow we end up, because one state just doesn't certify at all, we go into the Electoral College and no one has 270, or we wind up in court cases, Brad Raffensperger suing this election board and taking it to the Supreme Court. Either way, that's 2 out of 3 ways Trump loses the election and still could be president.
I mean, potentially. It's a very unsettling scenario when you get into those nitty-gritty hypotheticals about how this might work. I mean, what would happen, the Electoral Count Reform Act, which was passed after what happened on January 6th, it says that the states have to have certified election results by December 11th. Doesn't say, though, what happens if they don't. And if part of the reason they don't is because it's tied up in courts and the courts can't be encouraged to meet those deadlines, the prospect arises in which a state like Georgia or some other state that tries this essentially doesn't forward its electoral votes to Washington. What would happen then, theoretically, is that the number of electoral votes you'd need to win the presidency would be reduced. It wouldn't be 270. It would be some smaller number. And theoretically, you could get there with you could get there even if you had not been able to get there had all the states' votes been counted. So, I mean, it's the worry that you have about the courts is the worry that I share, Joy, that this could be something where just delay, just obfuscation, just confusion, just muddying the waters could preclude a state from having a clear result by the time the country needs them to have a clear result. And they feel very confident in their chances once it gets into the courts. And I think that's ultimately the goal of what they're doing.
Yeah, and